Hello, good evening and welcome to our penultimate round of the Premier Division season. We are here at the street circuit Baku in Azerbaijan, and as I said, the penultimate round of the season, and we've got quite the championship battle unfolding up front for second place with Puggy retiring in the garage. With the, well, here also the Williams going out. We've seen this before. They like to help each other round. And they'll be looking for the toe, especially down that big main straight. They will be trying to get any time they can. Yeah, and as I was saying before, we have quite the battle for second unfolding as Colin tied up the championship last race, but there is a 4-driver battle for second place. We've got Jetfish, Volcano, Glassy and Brandon fighting it out, and tonight I'm helped by a new telemetry system that should be giving me live standings and live constructor standings, so we should be able to keep you up to date as this battle rages on. Just to tell you where things are other than a Drivers' Championship, we have Ferrari 60 points ahead in the constructors, so essentially McLaren could do with Ferrari having an absolute disaster here and taking maximum points, and they will, if they do that, go ahead of them in the championship. Then McLaren have quite the gap to Mercedes, but Mercedes and Haas still fighting out. The gaps have opened up in the last few weeks, but it's still all to play for in that Drivers' Championship, with 4 drivers fighting it out for second place. Now, as we can see, Entity here, he'll be winding up to catch his teammate to get a tow, I would assume, but I think someone's managed to get in between them. Chupanu saying Go is the best. Are you talking about Go from First Division? Because if so, he had a very good race the other night. Daniel saying Hola, Premier time. Absolutely, and we're all for it. As I said, that battle unfolding is going to be very tasty tonight. Wardy saying Team Ferrari, super tyres tonight. Good luck, Colin and Luke. Well, yeah, we'll see what... Well, I think Colin... I will try and get on board for his first flying lap because I reckon he'll be mega round here. But at the minute we're on board with Entity in the Williams. Yeah, and it'd be nice to see. I think Luke got a bit unlucky at Silverstone, so we'll see what he can do tonight. Hopefully he'll have a very nice race. As also I'm seeing there Sminotla on the left hand side out on the mediums, so he is they'll be getting a bit of a feel for the track, and maybe he's got some confidence that he can put a good lap in on those mediums. Entity invalidates there. You've got to be very careful. He runs wide. We'll go on board with Giraffe, who hasn't run wide in the other Williams. He's got one more, I'd like to say, slower corner, and then he's got a winding section. This corner coming up right here is where I crashed out last night, so that can be called the Jones corner. It was pretty much onto the straight, so shows you the skill I have at driving. But what will Giraffe do? Can he get a 40 on the board early on? Gets close to the wall as he does, and he does just about 140.9 as Volcano goes faster. Volcano, one of the championship battlers for second place, asserts his dominance early on. But there we go, Baku, who's been saying he's very slow. Well, he's second now out of 4 drivers to put their time so far, and only 0.04 of a tenth off Jetfish there. Colin on his outlap now. We'll get on board with some Notler here on the medium, see how that's looking as he locks up, just keeps it out the barrier. Inorganic, hi everyone, hi Mr. Jones, good luck to the Williams boys and to Higgsy. Yes, here comes the Higgsy fan club, love to see it. Nice to see you, Inorganic. Hope you're having a nice evening. Should we get your predictions out of the way early on? Who are you going to curse this week? And I do believe, is it Brian or Sminotla? So Brian being KFC. One of them is running without the line for the first time tonight, so that could be interesting. It's Sminotla. So who we're on board with at the moment, first time without the line, so this could get very tasty. Glassy, great time up at the top. Oh, and he hits the barrier. So Sminola's not having the best of it so far. He's got Colin not far. No, Colin's ahead, and Colin was getting a slipstream off Luke. Here goes Colin. We will watch this lap because I want to see what Colin actually does. It's nice to watch someone who can really drive around this track. As he swings it round the first corner, and a very slow second corner coming up. Tucks it in perfectly onto the DRS. And what's different about Baku here is the fact that it's got quite long straights, but it is still very narrow. It can be tough to overtake if you're not on a straight. So far, Colin putting in a very, very tidy effort here through the first sector. As I was saying before, Glassy, what a time from him. He's 4 tenths clear of his championship rival Jetfish. Brandon still to set a time, and Higgsy with a lovely time. Inorganic will be happy with that with a 1:40.2. Gill Power 24, yo from the freezing cold shed. I'm assuming that is Puggy with his early retirement. Good evening, Ivor. Nice to have you. And those of you watching, this is how to drive a lap. On board with Colin here. Avoids that curve on the inside. And nice to see you too, Baku. So much for being slow. You're up in 4th. Very good start. And your teammate also up in 7th. Good start for Red Bull. And here comes Colin. Keeps it all very tidy, and you can just see he's so precise around this track, exactly what you need. He'll open his DRS now. Coming up across the line, he'll probably stick as close to the pit wall as possible, shorten that distance, and a 1:39.1, so that's 9 tenths quicker than Glassy. Colin is on it, as per usual. Brian has done his lap. Let's see if we can catch... Well, we've got some guys at the back here. We've got Entity coming across for a flying lap here. So, Inorganic saying, Colin first, Glassy second, Brandon third. So, if anyone doesn't know about this, Inorganic, he makes a prediction and it usually goes horribly, horribly wrong. Usually involving a retirement or a damaged car in some way. So, by virtue of that, my prediction is that neither Colin, Glassy or Brandon will finish the race here. I know Cosmo was trying to pay Inorganic some money last week to make some predictions to help his Mercedes team out by cursing their rivals in the All-Tier Championship. And Entity not running too wide there. He's kept it all just about in track limits, and that should mean he's going to put a representative lap time on the board. And as you can see up the top, actually from Glassy down to Giraffe, there's a second between 2nd and 9th, so it is all quite tight, especially from 4th to 8th, which is within 2 tenths of each other. He might get a little bit of a tow from the car in front here. Not quite sure who that is in front of him. I'm assuming that's his teammate. They tend to do this quite nicely. DRS is going to open now. And what will he do? It's going to be quick. 1:48. So, Entity into the top 10. And it was his teammate giving him that tow. We'll get on board with Volcano as he's going for his second flyer, I believe. I think he was a few tenths down though. Let's see how he gets on. And then we will quickly see how Glassy's getting on. Glassy just starting his lap through the first 2 corners now, seeing if he can improve and get a bit closer to Colin, or at least increase his gap to the guys behind. Because at the moment he'll be happy to see Higgsy between him and Jetfish. I know Glassy really wanted to secure the 2nd place this season. He has had a great season so far after a lot of unlucky moments in season 4. Colin win and Baku for podium, says Wardy. Oh, yeah, I'll tell you my prediction tonight, and I said it in Premier Division chat. I am predicting a Red Bull podium, but after Quinn's great race last week, I'm thinking Quinn might get a podium here. Anything can happen, as we've seen from the 2 races already this week. And I think Quinn might do it. Volcano does improve, but not by enough. Still 100th behind. And we'll go pick up Glassy, like I said we would, who is 4 temps up, apparently, through the first 2 sectors. Just gets so close to the wall there, but judging it perfectly. Throws it into the left-hander. Now he'll put his foot down to the floor as we got a yellow flag, but that is that slow-moving car that Glassy just overtook. I've got to say, for anyone watching, I'm loving seeing people make it through that corner, because I really messed that up on Tuesday and ended up in the wall. And Glassy across the line, 1:39.6, so he does improve, half a second off Colin, but Glassy has some serious pace here. And what can his rivals do? We've got Higgsy, who is improving. I'll put him on for all the fan club. Inorganic saying he's not predicted Higgsy or Williams. Great decision. It's not gone well the last few weeks when you've predicted them. But Higgsy, you'll be pleased to know, is a 10th up through the first sector. Or first 2 sectors, that might be. No, sorry, the first sector. Getting all muddled up here. He's in sector 2 now. We'll see how far he is up on the exit of this corner here. And he keeps it very neat and tidy through there. And he's half a second up, so Higgsy is going for it. Baku also improving to 1:40.0, so Baku complaining he had a lack of pace. Well, it doesn't look like it so far. He's going very, very nicely. And that prediction for the Wardy looking pretty nice at the moment. Luke saying he had a terrible lap. Yeah, Luke, not the best lap from Luke, but we know what he can do in a race. He's got brilliant racecraft and usually finds his way through. Higgsy does improve, just a tenth slower than Glassy, so it's all tightening up at the top of the leaderboard. Here comes Jetfish. He's currently in 5th. 4 tenths down on Baku as Sminotla puts himself between Jetfish and Baku with a 1:40.2. And how far up has Jetfish this lap? Not far enough. He's only 200ths up at the moment. He's going to have to hope he's got a lot of straight line speed in this car, because he's not going to get past Luke, who does put in a good lap with a 1:40.3. So Luke is now showing his speed. Yeah, well, Wardy literally moments before that just saying Luke will have to show his usual racecraft. Well, if Luke can start high up with his racecraft, he'll do very well, as Jetfish actually does get a very good final sector and promotes himself above Sminotla and Luke. Maggot's not on a lap here. Have we got anyone on a lap? Brandon's still not come out of the pits, neither Spider-Man. There is no qualifying bans for either of those drivers. And a bit of a lull in proceedings here. Sorry, I was having a little sip of my beer as we having a quiet moment, because people, I think, are getting back to the pits, getting a new set of tyres on, and they're going to go for a very low fuel run and see if they can smash the time. But it's nice to see Glassy up there, half a second of Colin, because we know Colin can be really, really unbelievably quick at times, so he is closing that gap. And he'll be hoping he can overtake him at the start at least. He needs to put any gap he can between his rivals. But at the moment for Glassy, it's looking good. Jetfish down in 5th, whilst he is 2nd. Brandon, his teammate, but also competing with him for 2nd place in the championship, is down in 16th. And we've got Volcano down in 9th. So things are going to have to change for the other drivers. Jetfish will come into the pits this lap. We've got Brian also on a slow lap coming into the pits. There's not much going on, but we will pick up. We've got Quinn is closest to his final fly-in lap. Let's see what Quinn can do. But just looking at how tight it is now, there is 9 drivers in the 140s, and we've got 3 drivers in the 139s. It is so tight. Any time you can find at this point could be huge. And Quinn opening that DRS now, about to start his final run. He'll get it over to the right side, maximise the entry. Straddles the curb, gets it tucked in on the throttle, gets a bit of curb on the outside. Now a very slow corner here. Get on the power nice and smooth, which he does, opening DRS, and it's a run down into another tight left-hander. You have a little bit more room on the outside of the next corner. If you can just push it, as you can see there, it opens up a little bit for you, gets it tucked in nicely. We've got a yellow flag up ahead. There are slow moving cars. Hopefully they will get out of Quinn's way, because the castle section coming up, well, one car barely goes through it. Gets a little bit of curve, which just unsettles him a little bit, but he's in sector 2 now and he's moving okay, Quinn here. And gets nicely there. Car getting out of the way, very good. And he'll throw it into here, get as tight to the barrier on the right hand side as he can to open up this left-hander. Don't run out wide here as we saw Entity do. Just keeps it in track limits. And he'll throw it round to the left. Very fast through here. Hard braking as it's downhill here. Don't get too much curb because it can unsettle. Keeps it just out the barriers. You can hear him scraping up against it. And now into the left-hander here. He'll have a bit of a toe off the car in front, he's hoping, I think, or will that move out the way? He's going to get a bit of a toe round here. Watch for the dirty air. And that Williams actually working beautifully for Quinn here. And he's getting a slipstream. Oh no, sorry, I say Williams, that's Baku. And what a great job Baku has done for Quinn there. The teammates working well together as Quinn goes on a 139.9, sorry. And that is absolutely brilliant. He goes past Baku as we'll pick up Colin, I think, who's a bit further down the racetrack. He's a 10th and a half up. So Quinn and Baku working very well there. Quinn now above Baku in the standings. And it's looking good for Red Bull so far. And I just seen it, Spider-Man and Brandon finally leaving the pit, so they're going to be trying to do their first laps. They're having one run at it and see what they can do, but it's so close up in the mid-pack here. And Quinn just setting that bar a little bit higher now. What can Colin do? And draining the rest of that ERS. He'll open DRS in 100 metres time. Now it's open. He'll get the shortest run to the line. And can he get a 138? Yes, he can. A 138.6. Absolutely rapid from Colin. Glassy, 2 tenths down, currently in second. And he's got his teammates. Brandon didn't actually make the flag there. So Brandon has not managed to set a time, and he will be starting 16th, which I would say is a bit of a disaster here. I mean, it's not great to start from the back. I can see why some people want to. I started from back the other day, and you're kind of thinking, oh, I'll watch everything happen in front of me. But if someone spins in a very tight section, and you come round at full speed, that's it. Your wings are gone at the very least. And Glassy does not improve. Volcano does, though. Just a 10th off Glassy there and puts himself back into the mix with a 3rd place. What a lap from Volcano. Higgsy now coming to the line, but it looks like he's half a second down through 2 sectors and he's backing off. What can Baku do? I think, no, he's finished. So, Sminotla coming around, but I think he is also down. I'll go to Luke, as we've got some Ferrari fans in the chat, who doesn't manage to improve. So, Wardy, you were right early on. He is going to have to use his racecraft here, as Brian puts himself up to 5th. Just the 6th driver to get into the 139s. And there you go, Jetfish and Brandon. Well, it's not been a great qualifying session. Well, I say Brandon hasn't even done a lap, but it's not been a great qualifying session for them, especially with Glassy and Volcano getting 2nd and 3rd. Now, I've got some lovely new features for this race to help me. I have some live standings that have been provided to us by Smith. Absolutely fantastic. Really helps. And what this is suggesting is if everything stays as it is, irrelevant of fastest lap points, Glassy will be getting into second place. Volcano will be in third place in the championship. Fourth place will be Jetfish. And obviously, at this point, Brandon will be scoring no points, so he'll be losing ground. So we could see some massive, massive changes in that battle for second. And obviously, with time running out, just one race next week at Imola left. Brandon and Jetfish really, really need to get off to a good start here to get anywhere close to the front. But that's going to be very, very difficult on this tight street circuit. Right, sorry about that. I was just taking another beer to watch this. Right, sorry for the silence. Right, we've got some new things in chat. Inorganic saying Kieran not happy with my prediction. Well, as your predictions go, he could end up being very happy with that prediction. I'm guessing he's supporting Higgsy, and well, I guess he's supporting the. Is he? Who's he supporting? Is he supporting Williams with you, or are you different teams? Luke's saying he hates this track. Yeah, but Luke, we know you well. You're very good in the race, so we're expecting some more lovely racing from you this week. I will get up now the tyres. Inorganic saying there's going to be 4 safety cars. Yeah, well, it was pretty intense in First Division, and I think they had a few safety cars in Championship as well. Ivor saying 3. Richard VDM saying, come on the VDM boys. Well, yeah, Quinn's very nicely positioned there. Luke not as well positioned, but both on different strategies, so watch out for that. Luke on the hards and Quinn on the mediums. And we really do have a split across the field, as you can see on the left of your screen there. Danos saying, let's go. Go big or go home. I believe Danos, I don't know what happened to you the other night. You did go big and unfortunately went home too. Richie saying, good luck Ferrari. Tyler Waits. Richie, are you supporting Ferrari? Can't believe it. And Inorganic saying, Kieran drives for McLaren in the championship. Okay, so, well, Kieran, he'll be supporting Brandon and Glassy as well as Higgsy, then I'm sure. Let's see what camera angles we can get. Maybe this one's the best. It reminds me of looking at Danny Ricciardo outbraking 2 drivers. Glad you enjoyed that one, Danos. I didn't want it to hit badly. But Here we go. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. Okay, let's go. And there you can see Glassy getting an absolutely fantastic start and into lead. He keeps it tight, just pushes Colin out wide. Obviously having that tighter line, I can see in the background there's a Williams round, but that is Glassy into lead and Higgsy up the inside of Colin. So Colin dropping 2 positions off the start, trying to pick up as much of this as I can. And we've got Brian close in behind Colin here. Will he look to make an early move? He has a look, thinks better of it, tucks in behind. So you can see those medium tyres really working well off the start, and it looks like it's not been a great start for the Red Bulls, down in 8th and 10th. Jetfish flying start up to 6th. And yeah, it was Giraffe that must have gone round at the start. He's back in 16th now. Luke also up to 12th, but Brandon getting ahead of him on those hard tyres into 11th. So far, so good. No safety cars, no virtual safety cars, and we are racing here at Baku. And Glassy is checking out in front. He is taking this championship battle into his own hands, and Volcano obviously dropping down to 5th with his other rival. You can see there, being in the Mercedes, Jetfish following behind. This is working very well for him. But Higgsy also going quite nicely. Colin now tucked in behind. There won't be DRS till the end of lap 2, so we'll have it for the 3rd lap. Ivor saying Volcano wins, Colin 2nd, Higgsy 3rd. Well, Higgsy is trying to go one better than that. Colin, well, there you go. Ivor, you've got 2 of them, perfect at the moment. As Puggy retires, Puggy is out. He's out at my corner there. And that is, at the minute, that looks like a virtual safety car, which I think is what Glassy would probably be hoping for, because he had a 1.2 second gap over that Colin and Higgsy battle. Yeah, just a virtual safety car. So we've got our first victim of the streets of Baku, being Big Puggy. Puggy can retreat back to his shed now, I'm sure. Unfortunately for him, his whole night has lasted 1 lap without doing qualifying. Sorry, that sounds brutal. I don't quite mean it that way. But hey ho, we move. Yeah, and as I was saying, the Red Bulls dropping back. We'll have a little look at the position changes here, and Glassy having to slow down a little bit there for what will be the Delta in a virtual safety car. But we are racing again. It's gone green, and probably not a great time for him there, because Colin is right on the back of him, just half a second behind. Glassy using a little bit of ERS off the exit there. And as you can see, the big winner so far, Brandon, up to 11th. Oh, and Glassy hits the wall, and he gets all out of shape. Has he got damage? It looks like he's okay, but that is a bit of a nightmare for Glassy. Yeah, he's all okay. And giving Colin back the lead. And there goes Higgsy into 2nd. Glassy dropping back in 3rd. Luckily didn't lose too much, and to be honest, lucky there wasn't more damage. Maybe he might have a tiny little bit on one of the little wings at the side, but he's got Brian coming up right behind him. Brian going to the outside here. Glassy defending the inside. It's going to get very tight. Glassy trying to break as late as possible, but he'll lose another position there. And Brian through. And now Volcano right behind him. Glassy having to defend up the inside again. Volcano will have a helping of DRS here though, but so will Glassy. But Glassy dropping back a little bit. And as you can see, Volcano moving to the outside. We do have a yellow flag in sector 1. And now I believe that's another virtual safety car. But Volcano just got past him before that virtual safety car came out. So that's his position. And from looking so good for Glassy in the first 2 laps, it is all gone wrong. Wardy's saying Glassy must have damage. I think it's not, you can't see it in terms of contextually, but I'd imagine he's got a little bit of end plate damage. I mean, he clouted the wall pretty hard. I think he, in a way, he'll be really annoyed and angry, but at the same time, I think he'll be thanking his lucky stars that it wasn't worse. I've seen a lot of people lose a wheel in that wall, so in a way, I think he'll be kind of happy. Now at this point, unfortunately, Jetfish hasn't put his telemetry online, so I'm going to have to calculate on that fly. The way the people are sitting at, the way the drivers are sitting at the moment in the battle for second place, that will put Jetfish in second. Volcano will go 2 points ahead of Glassy in the championship, and Brandon, by making up positions, he'll be adding 8 points to himself, but he'll be falling back from this group for the final race of the season. But when I talk about this, I'm talking about they are all within 20 points, so it is so close, and there's a lot of racing to happen here. Now Jetfish going around the outside. It's deja vu again for Glassy. He has to back out that. He tries to have it on the inside, but Jetfish running really wide and nearly hitting the barrier himself. Yeah, and Glassy thinking better of it, and that's a good decision. As you can see also, Volcano running wide. It is getting very scrappy here. I think guys are desperate to get through. That, I mean, for the spectator, that makes it great for us. As Colin also checking out a little bit from Higgsy here. He's got that gap up to second, but Brian also dropping back from Higgsy. He's now 2 seconds behind. We'll go back onto the tyres so we can bear that in mind for what's happening. And it's a real mixed bag. We've got 3 medium runners and 3 hard runners in a top 6. And as you can see there, Volcano just defending, and he'll be able to defend all the way through here. There's no move happening through there, for sure. And as you can see, it's getting very tight here. Baku right close on the back of Spider-Man here. And with his teammate not far behind him. But we've got a bit of a DRS train forming behind Volcano, who has now dropped out of the DRS range of Brian. But Brian is also out of Higgsy's DRS, and Higgsy similarly to Colin. So we've got a DRS train from 4th down to 10th, and then we've got a train forming behind Entity down in 11th to 14th. And unfortunately, Maga off the back, getting some damage in what would have caused last virtual safety car. Inorganic saying, whoops, I've done it again. Well, Colin, who did you predict again? You definitely had Colin. So Colin's still doing okay. You've not completely cursed him. But I think it was it Glassy and Brandon, your other predictions? Brandon's doing okay. He's up from the back of the grid. And I'm just going to move up to this, and I'm glad I did, because we caught it. That is Jetfish hitting Volcano round, and the cars behind have got to be very careful. He was late on the brakes. I could see the gap had come down massively, and that's demoted Volcano to 14th. I am sure that will be going to the steward's room, which also happens to be my room. I've got a bit of extra POV this week for that. Yeah, a little bit. Oh, and Baku going side by side with Spider-Man there. And oh no, what's that, Quinn? But Baku getting a 3-second penalty. What are you saying? You can't curse Colin. Well, yeah, Colin's away and doing well. I think Volcano will be very angry under his helmet at the moment with Jetfish. And because of that close DRS train, it has cost him a lot of positions. Jetfish running wide into the barrier, but no damage done. But Glassy is now starting to come alive again. Maybe he doesn't have damage. Maybe he just overcooked those tyres with the spin. And here we go, Glassy, he'll have the DRS. Jetfish won't have any to defend himself, and he'll pull over to the inside here. And Jetfish is going to be powerless against this one. He's going to get it. I can't get a very good camera angle on it, but Jetfish sending it round the outside. And there's a lot of contact being made there. Oh, and Jetfish getting very feisty tonight. I was hoping I wasn't going to have a busy steward's room this week, but Huss and Marco, if you're watching, get your stewarding equipment at the ready. I don't even know what that is. Maybe your eyes and your ears. But here we go. We'll keep on board with this battle because it is getting feisty with the Mercedes. And also, obviously, that promoting Brandon up to 8th in between the two Red Bulls of Quinn and Baku. And Glassy getting that very nicely tucked in. Jetfish getting a little bit out of shape round there. But Glassy's just going to have to hang tight here. No overtaking opportunities here. He's going to have to wait into the 3rd sector. He'll swing it back towards the wall. And you can see Jetfish is just having to correct that car. And maybe he's running with a setup that's a bit harder on the tyres. We saw it last week in Silverstone. The two Mercedes having punctures very late on, very reminiscent of another Mercedes race in real life. And yeah, you can see he's working those tyres hard. He's sliding around a lot, but they are having Brian in sight in front. And I think Glassy will learn from the last lap. But Jetfish getting all out of shape there. He's got to be careful against the walls because he's not doing himself any favours. And Glassy's going to get this move done before the corner for me here. He's got DRS opening now and he should be able to pull back onto the racing line. Yeah, and he's clear, and that one will be done now. And Jetfish under pressure from Spider-Man, looking for a bit of revenge for his teammate, and he's round the outside. Oh no, I say that. That's completely wrong. He was round the outside of Quinn as those two were battling. Wardy and Jetfish struggling with his 0-0 wings tonight. It looks like those tyres are not enjoying it. He hasn't got the downforce, and look at that from Quinn. What an overtake through there, but he won't have the inside line to the next corner. Spider-Man will send it up the inside, and it's, oh no, and you could just see that coming. And keep out of the way, please, boys. They do just about, and Volcano. Spider-Man getting a 5-second penalty for that, and I think we're going to see more stuff coming into the stewards room. Volcano will get promoted back up to 12th. So all kicking off there. And no one wanted to yield, and both of them ended up coming together and into the wall. Baku has been promoted from that, and Entity also going about his business slowly but surely as we ride on board with him here, watching the battle between Baku and Sminotler, the two Dutchmen. As we said, Sminotler, he's got rid of the line tonight, so it's very different for him. We've got Quinn has gone round. What's happened to Quinn then? I think Quinn might have some damage. And unfortunately for Quinn, it's all come unravelled in a few laps. But we'll go back on board with Baku and Sminotler. Also in chat, I get very distracted watching some battles. If you see any battles you would like to see, or if there's something I'm missing, please write it in chat and I will pick it up as fast as possible. And Baku getting to the inside there. He should have that move done nice and cleanly. Yeah, Sminotler, very fair racing there. But Sminotler will have a helping of DRS on the next straight. And it looked like he got it tucked in nicely, but getting that curve just unsettled the car, and he will drop back, and that will make it Baku safe. For a second, I feel like I'm saying back or related words a lot in that sentence. And Luke, the master of racecraft here, with a very German-looking helmet here. Luke is Dutch, so I'm sure it's not supporting Germany. Going about his business very, very nicely. He's got himself up into 8th, and watching this battle unfold in front, he does have Giraffe and Entity in the Williams going very well, especially after Giraffe had that early spin for company at the moment. And as you can see at the front there, huge gaps. So I'll try and keep with the midfield battles, because we've got Colin 5.5 seconds out in front of Higgsy. Higgsy 4 seconds to Glassy, and Glassy, who's dropped Jetfish a bit now, 2 seconds ahead. Then Brandon 2 seconds behind, and then Baku 2 seconds behind. So the field starting to get bunched. Oh, as Williams goes in very, very deep there, and I think that was Giraffe. And I don't know what happened there. Maybe he locked up his brakes, but he has absolutely destroyed his wing there. And he's in... Sorry, that might have been Entity. That was Entity. Entity, sorry. Yeah, and he's going to have to pit, I'd imagine. And that promotes Volcano again. Volcano on the charge back through the pack and closing the gap. And he'll have the bit between his teeth after that earlier incident with Jetfish. What gaps have we got that are close? We've got Spider-Man and Entity out now. Entity's pitting. So unfortunately, guys, we do have some pretty big gaps at the moment. Inorganic, Glassy is now breaking your prediction a bit, and Brandon, well, I say breaking your prediction. Your prediction is coming closer to fruition, but I know you were hoping it wouldn't. That was the reason why you predicted it. We'll get back on board with... No, we'll get on board with Brandon, who is closing the gap on Jetfish, who's working those tyres hard. And Brandon here is on a very good strategy. He's not got the pace to keep up with Colin today, but he's on the same strategy as Colin. So the three drivers in front of him and the two drivers behind him are all going to have to make earlier pit stops. So he's going to be overcutting them. He'll be hoping there's no safety car. And Brandon could potentially put himself right back into the battle for second place in the championship. As it stands, Glassy will be going into second in the championship. No, actually, that's wrong. Jetfish will be carried on in second, but Glassy will be closing the gap. Glassy in third. Brandon will promote himself above Volcano into third in the championship, and Volcano will be losing a lot of points, dropping off the back of this battle a little bit, so he could do with making up some more positions as fast as possible. You can see Jetfish getting a bit out of shape in mid-corner there, and that will give Brandon the DRS down the next straight, I do believe. Yeah, as you can see there, in 12 metres, it opens up, and here goes Brandon. He'll be too far back. He's going to have to sit behind this lap. He'll wait for the final straight, I'd imagine, and he'll then hopefully, in his eyes, take that position fairly easily, keeping off the curbs, keeping that car nice and settled. Glassy still not really managing to close in on Higgsy too much. It's nice to see Higgsy having a bit of luck tonight. We've seen a few times this season he's run out of luck a little bit, and he's raced very well, so good to see him on a podium position at the moment. But Glassy, as I said, that took 2 attempts out of him in the first sector. And you can see, yeah, Jetfish absolutely sliding everywhere at the moment. And Brandon just biding his time. He's got 2 more corners before he can really start to think about attacking Jetfish. And maybe we are also just seeing those mediums dropping off a little bit here. The hard tyre runners will probably be hoping to take their tyres to at least lap 16. Maybe lap 14 to 16 is the window we're looking at. But we might see the medium tyre runners starting to pit within the next couple of laps. And you can see Brandon here closing, saving his ERS, opens his DRS, he'll run to the outside. And I think Jetfish has pitted, so he's yielded that, and he's trying to undercut his rivals here. Baku will be promoted to position. He's still holding that 3-second penalty at the moment. He's got Luke quite a bit behind at the moment, so it's going well for Baku as well at the moment, but he is going to have to pit pretty soon. And he'll be hoping he can avoid some traffic. So what gaps have we got at the moment? We've got Volcano close in behind Giraffe here now, and closing, closely followed by his teammate Spider-Man. All three of them, sorry, on 10-lap old hards. Jetfish just coming out behind this battle, which I think Glassy and Brandon will be happy about. Because if these guys hold each other up, by running longer on their hards, they're going to really start to extend that gap and maybe make it insurmountable for Jetfish. And we did see Jetfish also working those tyres incredibly hard, so he's going to have to do a bit of tyre management on those hard tyres. As we also saw Sminotla, I think it was Sminotla, or was it Brian? I'm getting them both mixed up tonight. No, it's Brian, sorry. Brian on the soft tyres, putting in the fastest lap of the race. Currently, with him being 14th, he will get 2 extra points in the championship for that. Unfortunately, Brian, I believe, is down in 15th, so that will not promote him above either of the Williams, who are ahead. And we'll stay on board for this, but watch out in the left-hand side of your screen here. Sminotla very close behind Luke, but Luke having a tyre advantage. And Brandon is getting past Glassy, but Glassy has pitted, so has Baku, so they're making an earlier call, maybe worried about Jetfish behind, pulling the undercut. And Volcano just not able to catch up with Giraffe there. Giraffe having some great pace on the straight, and Spider-Man in close behind, and this is where it could get a bit tasty. Brandon out in front, and Brandon goes straight on. Oh, sorry, Glassy goes straight on, and he on the cold tyres, and he's damaged his car badly there. Yeah, he's got no front wing on the right hand side, and he will now be hoping for a safety car. Glassy has absolutely, I don't want to say it, but he's bottled it there on the cold tyres. He has hit the wall, and I'm looking at his, as Brian retires from session, but he retires in the pit lane, so that will not be a safety car. Glassy is number 13 though, and number 13 is an unlucky number, and that could be very, very costly for his championship. He's now getting gained on by Baku, and I imagine he'll not fight this at all, but he's going to really struggle through this section, which is the section that you need most of the downforce in. And yeah, he's massively struggling. He's just trying to get this back to the pit lane at the moment. F1 Widow saying, Colin says big thanks to Wardy. Strategy would have been terrible, so thanks for all his help. Yeah, well, they've nailed it. It can work out very, very differently here though, as obviously safety cars can happen quite frequently, as we've seen all week. Spider-Man close behind Volcano. This, I imagine Spider-Man won't push for the overtake, will he? Being teammates, oh he does. Maybe they're just working together. Maybe they are trying to pull themselves around with that DRS and catch the guys in front. But we're getting a bit of a split at the moment in terms of where people are on track and the strategies we're on. As Glassy is in the pits, he will put mediums on, and he's going to have to try and take them to the end. He will be hoping for a safety car, I imagine very late on, so we can get the softs and have a fresh set of tyres, because those mediums will be, they're going to be run pretty hard to the end here. Luckily you do get 2 sets here though. And Higgsy is going very nicely here in 4th. He's just pitted for hards. He's in a nice little window. He's not under too much pressure from behind at the moment. Gets very close to that barrier though. But he's in a very, very comfortable race at the moment, and he's doing very well. And look who it is, up in 3rd. I think we're going to have to call him Mr. Racecraft pretty soon. Luke from, where's he come from? He's come from pretty low down there, as we've got a yellow flag. Luke up 10 positions. I say that though, Brandon, bloody well done. 14 positions up, and well, when it looked like it was gone horribly wrong for his championship battle, he's the one taking charge of the situation at the moment. But so is Luke in his bid to get, well, maybe usurp his brother and Higgsy in the championship. He's trying to get as close to them as he can at the moment, and 3rd place would be a very good finish for him. But he's got Higgsy close behind on much fresher hards. And obviously Jetfish down in 7th is in a window where he will get him in the pit lane, but Luke just going about his business and bringing himself into this race nicely. Volcano in the pits now, pitting for medium tyres. And we'll see if we can catch any, we haven't really, unfortunately guys, we haven't got too much side-by-side racing for you at the moment. Jetfish is gaining on Spider-Man at the moment. This looks like the most likely next battle, or maybe Quinn on Volcano, but Volcano having just pitted, that's going to be because he's on cold tyres, so I'd imagine we'll see that gap grow more than this one will. And Jetfish again being very careful on the track limits there. Right, so I think we're all lacking an inorganic mid-race prediction. So I'd like to see some changes here. I'd like to bring you guys some close battling, but at the moment it's the strategies that are playing out. Higgsy now close behind Luke. I'll go on board that for Higgsy's fan club. It's one of the biggest fan clubs in Europe. And Higgsy will have DRS. He's going to be a bit too far back at the moment, but on these fresh hards, he's now finding his rhythm and he's chasing down Luke. And you can see he's just able to get it slowed down. And we got our giraffe pitting, that's why Jetfish has moved up a place. You can see that he's just able to get closer to the apexes. Luke just having to be a little bit more careful as those tyres wear, and I found here on Tuesday night the tyre wear was much higher than I thought it would be, and the tyres do go off awfully fast. And you can see, it's almost 2 bites at the corner for Luke at the moment, struggling a bit on those hard, so these guys getting the advantage at the moment, but Luke will know he will be pitting for the mediums and he will have the better rubber at the end of the race. Higgsy, yeah, breaking the toe a little bit. He doesn't want to get too close and he doesn't want to force a lock up and crash here. And he's in a very, very good position in this race, as we spoke about earlier. But Brandon actually building a bit of a gap on this. We just want to get caught up behind for too long, because Brandon might be able to put Higgsy under some pressure come the end of the race on those fresher mediums, as Colin is pitting from first place. He will switch to the mediums, I would imagine. Yeah, there we go. And he'll have 10 laps on those. Almost a free pit stop for Colin. Absolutely, Danos. Everyone who was close behind Colin, apart from Higgsy, had some moments. So Colin really having a massive gap today, and obviously Brandon starting in last place up to second, so he's had a lot of traffic. As Luke also diving into the pits. The hard tyres, 14 laps seems to be their time. So Glassy, he's on 2-lap-old mediums. It might be a bit of a struggle to get them to the end, but he's got Giraffe and Mega and Volcano all on similar strategies, although with much fresher tyres at this point, because Glassy, I think he had to pit for fresh mediums a second time after his moment out of the pit exit. And Higgsy now up into second. What gaps have we got? We've got Jetfish, who's come out right behind Brandon. Brandon has the tyre advantage, but not right now. They're cold. Jetfish should be thinking, I want to get this done now and keep him behind me. This might be his chance to claim third place. And we got, someone's out. Mega and Brian. And we have a safety car. I don't want to say I wanted a safety car, because finally we'd actually got a bit of a race, but now we're going to have 13 cars in close proximity. Strategies are going to be neutralised here. I apologise to anyone supporting, say, Higgsy or Colin, who it's going well for, but we did have a little moment there. It wasn't a lot of tight gaps, and I was having to chat way more than I expect all of you would want me to chat. So we will be getting some close racing, and we will be having what I reckon will be a 7 to 8 lap sprint to the end. This seems to be happening very often in Premier Division this year. I also think people predicting in chat 4 or 3 safety cars, we've missed the mark a little bit on that one. I'm not going to count the virtual safety cars. This is the first safety car of the night, and we'll see what these guys do. And will they pit? And yep, Jetfish leaves it late, and he will pit for some medium tyres. And I will use this quick opportunity to make myself another drink, and I'll let you just watch what's going on behind a safety car here. Right, so you can see Colin following the Aston Martin there. And this is, I believe, we've had a lot of safety cars this week. The safety car's been getting very well worked this week. So, we got Colin on the fresh mediums, and they will remain fresh behind the safety car here. Same with Brandon. The advantage to them. Unfortunately, that leaves Higgsy a little bit exposed. Baku, also similar strategy to Higgsy here, but with a 3-second penalty, which could become very costly now. The field is bunched, but he's had a very good race so far. Baku, after a poor start, he's made a good recovery. We've got Sminotla on a similar strategy as well, 5-lap old hards. Jetfish in behind on 1-lap fresh mediums. We saw him pit, so he's managed to get out in a pretty decent position here on a more optimal tyre strategy than Sminotla, Baku and Higgsy. Giraffe, Volcano, Luke, Glassy all opting to stay on the mediums there, and Spider-Man and Quinn taking new ones. Entity cruising down the pit lane here. What's he going to do? And that was what I was hoping he'd do. He's tried the softs, and this could be interesting. He's hoping here that the safety car will stay out for one more lap here. He is a whole sector behind the other cars at the moment. But in organic, if you're still watching, I love this strategy from Williams here, and I hope it does play out nicely. I love a risk taker, as you guys know from watching. And I love it when people try something different, and it's Entity this week, so he is the man to watch. He will be trying to catch up to the back of the field. Banter Brandon, you're doing very well. I see you there in chat saying vamos and absolutely let's go. Up to third place. What a race and what a recovery you have had so far. In behind Higgsy and Colin. And I will say this week, if you guys in the chat want a podium chat, I can try and do it after the race. Please type in chat if you would like to hear the drivers. I say that because I know we have a Higgsy fan club here, so if Higgsy's on a podium, I'm sure they'd love to hear a few words from him. I know Brandon, we always seem to get into the podium chats. He's very good at attending, and we'll see if we can get Colin. If it stays as it is, it could all change. But let me know if you'd like to hear a podium chat tonight. I haven't done it for a little while, and that's something I will aim to bring back to you, especially next week with the season finale and into next season. We will be trying to improve the coverage for you a bit here and make it a bit more of a viewing spectacle. Not that these guys don't always give us great viewing, but I imagine we will have the safety car coming in this lap. Entity still off the back of the field, but clearly not working those tyres too hard, because he will catch them, especially through the tight sections. So I think he's just making sure those tyres, there's no no unnecessary life taken out of them. And you can see how slow it's making them go through these corners. Wardy saying, I'm glad Higgsy on hards behind Colin, not Brandon on mediums. Yeah, well, I mean, it feels like a long race. You forget that Colin had a bit of a nightmare start, really, with Glassy and Higgsy getting past him early doors. So, yeah, I think you make a good point, and I think Brandon, I say that, Brandon may have attacked him. We saw it last season when they were battling for the championship right to the last race. But I think Brandon has his eyes on second place, and I don't think he'll be taking unnecessary risks, especially after getting up from 16th place And safety car is in this lap. We'll stay on board with Colin and try and see when he goes. He starts backing up the field now. I imagine he will be leaving this late with the long straight. Fortunately, the start finish comes right at the end of that straight, so there's no overtaking before then. But he won't be wanting to give anyone a draft either, so he's going to leave this as late as possible. We'll go on board with Higgsy so we can get a better view of what Colin does. And you can see desperate to get heat in those tyres, these guys. And there goes Colin, catching Higgsy slightly out, but not too much. Higgsy was alive enough to it. And we are racing again, and Brandon in very tight behind Higgsy already. And everyone through safely there, but we do have Jetfish on the inside of Baku here. And it sounds like they've made contact. They're all moving in the right direction. But here comes Giraffe. And he's going to be too far back, but it's going to get very, very tight through here. They all somehow get through that corner, but here comes Volcano up the inside. Giraffe hanging around the outside. Bit of contact. They're all still moving in the right direction still. Now Luke fancies it. He thinks better of it. It's tight through here, but then Volcano runs very wide. He's going to really compromise himself, but Luke can't have the room to get back underneath him, unfortunately for him. Any other track he might have had that room. And it's all bunching up nicely in here, but we'll get back on board with Brandon, who's putting Higgsy under some serious pressure. Colin has said goodbye to the rest of the field within a lap, 2.5 seconds up the road. But here goes Brandon. He won't have DRS until lap 22. And he keeps it nice and tidy through here, but we're seeing these medium tyres working nicely at the moment, with Jetfish already past Baku and Jetfish hunting down Sminotla in 4th place. Simple saying spicy restart, come on Jetfish. Yeah, well, he's going well at the moment, he's on a good strategy, and it was a very, very spicy restart. We like that. And Brandon using up his ERS. Higgsy pulls to the outside. And Brandon will be on the inside here. Will Higgsy send it round the outside? He won't. No DRS this lap. And as you can see, the Alpine of Sminotla and Jetfish getting very, very close there. And Jetfish going in deep, but he'll be okay there on the way out. And Baku just in behind, but his 3-second penalty is going to cost him. You can see Volcano as well, and Luke and Glassy coming through there. So Glassy and Volcano with a lot of work to do, as Brandon and Jetfish are going to absolutely maximise their points over them at the moment. Yeah, and Sminotla just dropping back from Jetfish as well at the moment. Jetfish is now going to be putting Higgsy under some massive pressure. Brandon has dropped Higgsy as well, and you can see that the medium tyres was the tyre to be on at the moment, unfortunately for Higgsy. That safety car really not working well for him, as Jetfish touching the barrier a little bit there. Gets away with it. And Higgsy going to be under pressure for the 2nd lap in a row. Let's have a look at his ERS. He's got more at the moment than Jetfish. And Jetfish, I imagine he'll use his up here. He is. But it looks like Higgsy's pretty quick in a straight line as well. But it's a long, long straight, and he'll feel like it's going on forever for Higgsy. He stays to the right. Jetfish moves to the left. Higgsy's very, very respectful and lovely driving from Higgsy as always, and unfortunately the way the race has turned out, it just has not gone his way. He will get DRS, which will help him along. Luckily though, he has got Sminotla and Baku behind on the same strategy, which gives him a little bit of a buffer. You can see he gains on Jetfish there with the DRS, but Jetfish with that tyre advantage will probably extend through the tight 2nd sector here. So we got Luke And Glassy down to 12. Glassy dropping 2 positions. He's on 9 lap old mediums now. I'm really surprised he didn't pit for the soft tyres, to be honest. But as I say, that entity has not made any inroads on those soft tyres at the moment, probably because it's such a tight street circuit. You think there's a lot of overtaking opportunities, but only really on the straights, and it can often, if you send it late, lead to disaster, as we've seen a few times tonight. And Higgsy now dropping back. In chat we've got Wardy saying who's got fastest lap. I will check that for you now. And we've got a yellow flag in sector 2. And that's Luke and Spider-Man. So Glassy's been promoted 2 stops. Where do I find fastest lap here? There we go. Colin. Yeah, I mean, he's been flying. I'm not surprised. So Brandon up 14 positions, looking very, very good in there. Entity has been promoted by Luke and Spider-Man having an incident, and they are way off the back of the field, so it's gone wrong for Luke, unfortunately. I know you'll be disappointed with that one, Mordy, but you've got Colin still in first. And again, you're seeing the DRS trains have an effect here as Glassy now moves himself up into 9th, and Glassy finally starting to get a move on, and this is what Glassy needs. It's damage limitation tonight. They will take this battle to the last round. It will still be all open for second place in the championship, but Quinn having a look up the inside here. Glassy keeping it tucked round the outside, and he will have the inside to the next corner, but he can't get all the way over to the outside, so he'll be compromised on the exit, but he gets good enough traction away. And Glassy now, he's got Volcano in sight. He could do with at least staying 1 position behind Volcano to give himself as much hopes in the championship in the final round. But Brandon and Jetfish are trying to put themselves out of sight. Jetfish will extend his gap in second. Brandon will close that gap to him slightly. But Volcano and Glassy will be losing points to these guys quite badly at this point, and they'll need a huge result in Imola unless they make up more positions. But we got Volcano in close behind here, and I think at the front, because of the tyre situation, that will be our podium. I can't see that changing too much unless it's a big mistake. I know Higgsy's hanging on, but on those hard tyres I just don't think he'll have the pace. And Wardy also saying earlier, I'm glad not Wardy, who said it earlier? Someone said that Higgsy was screwed by the safety car a little bit, and I think that's absolutely true. He'd got himself into such a commanding second place, and the safety car scuppered that. But we've got Smanotla and Giraffe doing battle in front. Glassy and Volcano will be hoping they kind of take each other out here at this point. They are desperate to make any positions they can up, but they've got 4 drivers between them and their 2 championship rivals. And unfortunately, with the street circuit tonight, we haven't seen too much of the battling we'd hoped for. The gaps being quite spread out. I'm just going to keep on this battle behind because this is huge for the battle in the championship. It's all going to go down to the wire at Imola, but if Volcano and Glassy are going to have a realistic chance at second place in the championship, without a disaster happening to Jetfish or Brandon, they need to get past at least 2 of these cars. You can see Volcano now, he's right on the back of Smanotla, and that is exactly what he needs. He will move himself up into 7th place. He goes to the inside, he gets back over to the racing line for the corner. He's got very tight in there. He does set the fastest 3rd sector, and you can see there in the background Glassy and Quinn still battling behind, and Glassy not necessarily looking too far in front. He's also looking in his mirrors at the moment. Quinn very racy at the moment on those fresher medium tyres than Glassy.
Glassy will be at least hoping he gets Sminotla on the old hard tyres, but I think Glassy's tyres might have given up for tonight, and he will just maybe need to defend that 9th place at the moment. He got a little bit sideways out of there, and you can see Quinn right on the back of this now. And Glassy, who was leading the race and hit the wall and rewarded Colin with the lead straight back, not gone his way tonight, and he's going to have to pull something special out of the bag in Imola if he is to recover 2nd place in the championship here. Volcano also getting some good points, and that's such a shame for Quinn. That's given Glassy a little bit of breathing space, and he will be up the road now and broke the DRS. Glassy actually gaining on Sminotla pretty quickly at the moment. He's within half a second, but Sminotla also within half a second of Volcano. We've got a DRS train forming. At the end of this lap, we'll have 1 lap to go. So he'll need the move on this lap. And Volcano, similarly, not too far behind on Giraffe, who doesn't have any DRS protection. But he should be okay. We'll go back on board with Glassy, who's actually dropping back on the straight. So Sminotla, who runs a little bit wide. And Glassy has to tuck in behind again. And I think we go on board with Volcano because this is looking more likely at the moment. But he is close in behind Baku, and the other, well, Glassy's also in a race here against Baku's penalty. Baku having a 3-second penalty here, and calculating that 1.1, 2.1, 2.6 seconds behind Baku at the moment. So Glassy needs to stay at least within that time of Baku to get up there. Inorganic saying Giraffe having a great race. Yeah, Giraffe is having a great race, and I think it was last week as well. Giraffe had a very good finish, and yeah, he's really hitting in a rich vein of form here late in the season. Entity also managed to get himself up to 11th, but those soft tyres probably giving up a little bit now. And actually, looking behind us, we've got a yellow flag in behind. I'm not sure what's happened, but we've got Glassy in it really close on Sminotla here. But look who's right behind him again. Quinn, after having that moment, is just 3 tenths behind. And this is going to go down to the wire. Luke gets past Entity for some vital points. I think Entity has spun, so Spider-Man's passed as well. I shouldn't have said he was having an alright race on the recovery, but it's a curse of the commentator again. And Glassy using ERS. Absolutely desperate here. And he might just get this done before the line. It's going to be so close. He needs these points. Volcano gets past Baku on track in terms of the penalty, and so does Glassy, 6th and 7th. They've just about recovered it, and this will make that title go further down to line. Well, I say title, 2nd place, go down to line, and Luke loses place to Spider-Man. Spider-Man slowing down on the line. Luke gets it back, and Entity bringing it home as the final finisher. Sorry guys, tonight it was a difficult one to follow the battles there. Brandon getting driver of the day. Yeah, I think it's between Brandon and Colin. Colin, absolute supreme in front, but Brandon from last place. What a drive. And he's thrust himself back into that title race for 2nd position. After having, I think he retired last week, and it's a completely different story this week. An absolute result, what he needed. Jetfish up into 3rd place. Will go into next week as favourite for 2nd place in the championship, Jetfish. And a very sought after 2nd place in Premier Division. Colin already collecting a title, and Glassy and Volcano losing out tonight. They will have about 20 points to make up next week, so they could do with a lot of stuff happening. But they recovered to 6th and 7th, so they managed to limit the damage somewhat. And also Colin taking the fastest lap means no one else gains any extra points. But as you see it there, we do have a podium, and what an interesting race that was. Unfortunately, quite a few gaps, but I've got to say, Brandon, Jetfish, and Colin, supreme tonight. We'll see if we can get them into the party. We'll at least see. We've got Brandon. We'll see if we can get anyone in the party. If we can't, we will be back next week for the final race of the season at Imola. We'll see if Colin or Brandon or Jetfish join the party. If not, no worries. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. Inorganic saying, Brandon, great drive and driver of the week. Yeah, I think that's a hard one to look past. I thought Brandon was absolutely mega tonight. And speak of the devil, and he will appear. We have Brandon. Are you there, Brandon? Have we got you?
I'm here.
Nice to have you, Brandon. Unfortunately, we haven't got the other podium sitters, but we've got you. We've got some people in chat saying driver of the week. I'd have to agree with that. How did that go for you? Just trying to stay out of trouble?
Yeah, I know this is a hard track, obviously, and I know there's going to be trouble. So yeah, obviously just avoiding. I got a bit lucky. There was a crash in front, so I just had to quickly drift out the way. But yeah, staying out of trouble. I think I had decent pace as well. So yeah, happy with that comeback.
Yeah, and I think that puts you right back into the battle. Obviously, Jetfish managing to collect some points behind you for the second in the championship. Bit of a disaster for Volcano and Glassy tonight.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you actually, qualifying, were you just not fancying a lap? Was that part of the plan? Because we saw you hadn't come out of the pits, so I was wondering what was going on there.
I might have had dinner.
Okay. I hope it was tasty at least.
Yeah, I think that's what helped me get P2, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, whatever you had for dinner, I'd keep that a secret because
Yeah.
it gave you some great pace tonight.
Well, I need to find one that'll make me win. So
Yeah,
hopefully
well,
that's on the cards.
I mean, Colin was brilliant tonight, but obviously, I think realistically, once Colin got out in front and you had to come through the field, it was always going to be tough. He had a little bit of a battle on his hands early doors, but obviously, I think it was Glassy, your teammate. He hit the wall, and kind of that opened it up for Colin to kind of get that lead. What were your thoughts when the safety car came out, though?
To be fair, it was at a time where it didn't help me, but it wasn't the worst as well. I think it helped me more than it didn't because obviously the hard runners, uh, yeah, their tires were a bit worn and my mediums are only one lap old, so yeah, I think it
Yeah,
gave me a pretty good run until the end. I knew I'd get Higgsy. It's just about how I got him and how cleanly I got him. I didn't
yeah,
do anything stupid, so yeah, I just got him as quick as I could, and yeah, I knew with the advantage I'd be able to pull away. So yeah, safety car was pretty decent, I'd say.
yeah. Well, yeah, I think it was a bit unfortunate for Higgsy. I was saying in the commentary because
Yeah,
he'd found himself a very nice little gap, and then obviously didn't take the chance to pit, and it just kind of left him a little bit hung out to dry.
yeah, no, he definitely deserved more.
I think the big question is who's going to finish second in the championship next week.
Um, I don't actually know how far away I am right now. I can't lie. Obviously I'm gonna aim for that, but I mean it's up for grabs, I guess. I think who's in contention? Me, Jetfish, Glassy, and Volcano.
Yeah,
So
exactly right. And
yeah, I mean,
I'll give you an update now. I believe that you will be 14 points behind Jetfish going into the final round.
yeah,
And Volcano and Glassy will be about 20 points behind.
yeah. Obviously, I know everyone says it all the time, but anything can happen. Obviously, you know, it would be nice if Colin spun off, I go P1 and Jetfish crashes out or something, but that's just not gonna happen. Yeah, no, I'm just gonna take the race as it comes. Imola, I think, right? Is it Imola?
Yeah, Imola next week. So as we
Yeah,
know, anything can happen there.
yeah,
It's
Imola. depending on how fast the guys up front is, could be a bit of a DRS train. So yeah, I just got to stay as far ahead as I can.
Yeah, and
See if something happens.
I'll ask you one last question before I let you go and enjoy your Thursday evening. Do you plan to qualify next week or have dinner?
Definitely gonna be qualifying next week.
Really, after the second place?
Let's
I
get.
thought you might have found a lucky little ritual there.
No, I can't risk it, especially in that race.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. But thanks for joining me, Brandon. Well done on tonight. I think you've got my vote for driver of the week as well. Yeah, and good
Thank
luck
you.
next week. It's
Thank you, mate.
going to be a really exciting one to watch.
Yeah, cheers for coming as well.
Yeah, no problem, mate. And to anyone watching, thank you guys for tuning in tonight, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. We'll see you back here next week for the second place showdown in Imola. Cheers. Have a good one.